Hello Markham Gardens family, welcome to Markham Gardens. Hey, so I wanted to come to you today because I've got an issue that I've run into and I have determined that I am going to come up with a solution for it now. Basically what's happened is, you guys know from previous videos that I make my own soil here for the gardens. And basically I have used a hardware cloth on a frame to make that soil, but it is getting to the place where I've got neighbors and I've got customers that are showing up that are asking me for soil, and they're not asking for just a couple pots of soil, guys. They're asking for 3 and 4 cubic yards at a time. And to be honest with you, 2 cubic yards takes me about 3 days of full work to make using this current method. Let me spin you guys around here and I'll show you what I've been using to make it. So this right here, guys, is the frame that I've been using, and I've basically just been using a flat shovel. And what I do is I take this frame that is just some 2x4s that have been stuck together. Actually, scratch that, they're actually 2x3s. And all I did was staple some of this hardware cloth on here, and I set this on top of my wheelbarrow, and then I run a flat shovel. I dump all of this that's here in the chicken run. You see all the wood chips and everything that we use. The chickens scratch it up and it breaks down really fast. I've been placing it on top of this, and then I sift it around and scrape it around, and what falls through this into the actual wheelbarrow is what I use as the soil. I add some additives to it, and then I turn around and I sell that and also use it here at the gardens for everything that we grow, from garden to our trees and everything else. The problem is, guys, is this takes forever. I mean, it's a lot of manual, and I basically turn on music, I sing out here, I listen to podcasts, and I basically make the soil, but it's taken me too long to do two cubic yards. And so I've got to come up with a faster way, guys. And so basically what I've done is I had a plastic barrel. I have one it's one of those Zep cleaning barrels, and it was full of soap. And so what has happened is I had trimmed the top out of that, and I had been putting all sorts of weeds and grass clippings and things like that in there with water and letting that ferment, and using that as a fertilizer for all of my plants. But I have found that the chicken poop and all of this soil and all of the stuff that I get from them is enough fertilizer for my plants. I really don't need to do that fermenting process. And so I've determined that I'm going to go ahead and use that barrel to go ahead and make a trommel, a sifting trommel. And so what I'm going to be able to do is take all of this chicken compost that's down here on the ground that the chickens are making, and I'm going to be able to turn all of this stuff into soil a lot faster. So let's go ahead and go inside. I'll show you guys what I've done with the barrel already. I've already done some markings on it and some stuff, and let me show you what's happening. All right, so what I've done is I've marked the barrel in certain locations. So I've marked it in the centers, and I've skipped an area, and in the center again, because I want the strength of the plastic in between areas. I could do one entire area where I did knock this piece out and then knock this piece out on the other end of this, but I wanted to offset them to add some strength and stability to this, since it is just a plastic barrel. But what I've gone ahead and done is I've X'd out the areas that I'm going to be removing, and these are the areas that are going to have the 1/4 inch carpenter's cloth in the middle of it, the 1/4 inch grate wire. So I have gone ahead and left a space up here at the top, because I'm going to have a caster that's going to be rolling along this edge here, and I'm also going to leave this space right here open because there's another caster that's going to be rolling along this edge. However, on the end down here, instead of cutting out the whole end of the barrel, which I would lose a lot of stability in that, I'm just going to be cutting out from this section here, this corner piece out, up to this right here, and that'll leave holes with no wire in it right here all the way around. So you can see that I've got another one here, and basically that is repeated all the way around this barrel, and that way all of the mulch that is too big, that didn't make it through the actual grates, the parts that I want to keep, it will fall out of these holes towards the end of the bucket as it's sitting here spinning. So my next project is I'm going to be cutting out these squares that all have X's on them. Alright guys, got all of the holes popped out of it. So all of the holes here on the end, these are the ones that all of the too large parts that don't fall through the grating are going to come out of. So these are the exit holes. That way I've got some strength and I've got some rigidity on this barrel still. But as you can see, we've knocked out all of the pieces all the way through, and like I said, there'll be a caster running here along this rim, and there'll be a caster running along this rim. Now we just need to put the carpenter cloth, 1/4 inch carpenter cloth, inside of here. And basically I'll run it through the whole inside of the barrel. And then we will build the frame for it and be able to start making our soil. So stick tight with me and we'll keep working through the project. Alright guys, so I have been cleaning up this barrel because I used the, I don't know what you call it, a vibrating tool, whatever you call it. It's a saw blade that vibrates really, really fast and cuts. So anyway, that's what I used. You guys heard that a second ago. But it left a lot of burrs on the actual barrel. And so today I'm cleaning those up. I am going to use this little multi-tool here with a little blade on the end of it, and I am cleaning this barrel up. Let me show you. So you can see here, it left a bunch of burrs all the way around, and you can see here I've got a whole bunch of burrs laying on the ground that I've scraped off of it. But basically what I've been doing is I've been taking this tool and just scraping it along these sections like this. Just scraping this plastic and stuff off of this barrel. Now there's some also on the inside. You can see that there's a few spots like that on the inside. I'm just running that over it, and basically that's coming right off. And so got a few of them like that are sticking out, and I'm just cleaning this barrel up. That way it's a little bit more clean. I can get the wire in here without it snagging on things. But you can see I have done quite a bit of it, and it has cleaned it up really, really nicely from the last little section that you saw. You saw when I finished grinding on it there with that little cutter that there were burrs all over it, but this has cleaned it up really nice. And now we're gonna put the wire in it. And let me grab the wire real quick. You can see here, this is what I'm gonna be using. And this is a 1/4 inch hardware cloth. And it just comes in a roll. And pick this up at my local hardware store. Home Depot carries this, guys. Lowe's carries this. Tractor Supply carries this. A whole bunch of people carry this kind of stuff. But this will allow a really fine soil to come through. I don't want to use the larger wood chips. I just want to use the finer stuff. And then I will go ahead and mix a little bit of peat moss and a little bit of perlite and some other goodies in there to make the soil that we have here at the Markham Gardens and we use to plant everything with. So I'm going to go ahead and get this unwrapped, and I'm going to start wrapping this on the inside. Now what we're going to do is we're going to end up using zip ties. I'm going to go ahead and zip tie this hardware cloth to the inside of this barrel, which will also require that we go ahead and we drill a few holes. So we'll probably end up drilling holes along these sections here that do not have holes in them, and that way we can run them through and actually bind this this hardware cloth to the barrel. Now you can see that I have gone ahead, I've already drilled 2 holes on this section, 2 holes on this section, 1 hole in the center, and I went ahead and hung this wire on the inside in the area that I want it to go. I have overlapped this section here because I am at the end, once I get this wire all the way around, I'm going to need somewhere to bind it to. So I'm going to bind it to this section right here, and then bind it right here, and then bind it right here. So that's what I'll end up doing with that. But right now I'm going through on the next section and I'm drilling all of my holes. All right, so I've got all those drilled. Now I'll begin binding to the next section. All right guys, so I went ahead and drilled all of the holes all the way around, and I have gone ahead and lined this carpenter cloth on the inside. You can see that I have stitched in several locations here. And I did find out that 1 roll of that carpenter cloth is not enough to fill this entire barrel. So you can see we've got 1 section empty here. And it looks like we got to here, and then we got to that point. And so I'm going to need 1 little section to go here, which is a little aggravating. But I guess I'll be buying another roll of this stuff to make it work. Now, I did have that extra section sitting there, but that is not wide enough to actually fit right here in this slot. So we're going to go ahead and probably end up having to buy a whole nother roll. Either that or I will end up patching just these squares with it, but I really want a full loop all the way around. So now you can see all of the zip ties in here. I have gone ahead and left all of the tailings. The only ones that I will remove are going to be the ones at the bottom, because I don't want those interfering with any of the larger pieces going out of the exit holes. But all of these other ones, I'm going to leave them in here. That's just going to basically churn up. It's going to, you know, I guess create some resistance against the mulch. I don't know that they'll make much of a difference, but why not? It looks kind of cool, and it gives like teeth in the middle of it too. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and work with that. I'm going to go ahead and have to get another roll so that I can finish this section here, and we should be good to go. All right, so I ended up using the scrap piece, and this is all that I've got left out of that. So it ended up being enough. And so basically I ran them sideways, and you can see right here, let me turn this around so you can see. So this right here was the section that did not have enough. So this section to this section. So I turned it sideways, ran them sideways, and was able to get 4 of them to equal up all the way down this thing so that I could finish the entire barrel. The only difference is you can see that there's an offset down there of maybe about 2 inches, and that's not really going to be a huge deal because there's no holes there in that area anyway. So, and those bottom holes are just where the large stuff is going to fall out. So this should work great. We've gone ahead and attached all of our wire around here. Now, I know that I said a moment ago that I was going to leave all of these zip ties, but my OCD is kicking my butt right now. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all of these off, and I'll come right back to you as soon as it's cleaned up. All right, so it is fully cleaned up. You can see we've got the wire all the way around. And I've gone ahead and cut off all of the extra pieces of zip tie. You can see we had to use a lot more zip ties on this side because this is the area that had to be patched. But it turned out really good. You guys can see from the outside, basically all of the holes and openings have the wires on them, and so that should work. Now keep in mind, guys, if you're going to make one of these and you are going to happen to use the zip ties the way that I did, make sure that you use these black zip ties. Unless you're going to have this thing indoors at all times, make sure you use the black ones. The white ones are not UV rated. They will break within about 6 months being out in the sun. That's probably the maximum amount of time I've ever had with a white zip tie. So make sure you're using these black ones. They are UV rated. They will last outside. I've had these things outside for 2-3 years and they're still going strong, no issues. So just make sure you use the black ones if you are going to have this unit outside while you're using it. But anyway, guys, this video is just going to be part 1 of this series. Basically, it is the building a trommel series, and this is part 1, just making the barrel and getting all of the wire and stuff that's in there. The next time that I come to you with this video series, it's going to be building the frame, and then we will go ahead and get it installed on the frame, and then I'll come back and show you guys the use of it and everything else. But for reals though, guys, if you have a whole bunch of mulch and you're wanting to turn it into really good soil, and you've got soil that you make on your own, this is an excellent way of sifting. You guys saw in the beginning of the video, I've been using the old method, just been using a frame with this 1/4-inch hardware cloth wrapped around it, and guys, it takes forever. It really does. And so I need a faster way to make soil. We use so much soil here at the gardens that I have got to come up with a faster way, and this is the best method that I could think of for what I've got on hand. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned. The glory of the Spirit again. Stay tuned, and for the next video that comes out, guys, so you can watch the rest of this project. And but hope you enjoyed this one. If you know anybody that needs a trommel or is going to be building a trommel or likes to watch projects like this, guys, if you would go ahead and hit that share button for me. Get the word out there about the Markham Gardens and all of the different projects that we do. And if you like this video, guys, if you give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, guys, give me a thumbs up. It'd be great. Appreciate it. And anyway, glad you guys could come along today. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. Love you. Shalom under the dome.